Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast. So, today I want to talk about the divine timing. I want to talk about the need to be in control. And I also want to talk a bit about traveling and how it's been really helping me on my healing journey. Okay, so I spoke a lot about everything comes into your life for the right time, the right purpose. I sound like a broken record now, but I want to delve a bit deeper and explain it in terms of the divine timing. Now, this is quite a spiritual thing, it's also a religious thing. For me, I want to take it as a religious thing. I feel like God knows what the divine timing is. He has a timing for everyone, He has a path and a plan for everyone, and He's in control of basically releasing when each thing, opportunity, person gets given to you. Like when, exactly what time, what day, what month, what year, He's going to give you a new part of your life. That is His divine timing. And I want to talk a bit about how I've got to a place where I completely wholeheartedly trust His timing and no one else's. Not mine, not my friends, not my families, not my parents. Okay, so where I clocked that the divine timing exists and my timing does not is when I wanted certain things at certain times, and the universe, God, whoever, showed me so obviously that it was not my time, I was not ready, or the other thing was not ready for me. A key one that I always talk about is my apprenticeships. I searched for like a whole year to find my apprenticeship, and clearly my divine timing was a year later when I found the one I'm in now, which is so meant for me, is so much better, and I have a lot more experience, and I'm taking it more seriously than if I'd got it maybe a year before and could have messed it up or ruined my chance and ruined the opportunity that God was keeping a hold for me. So He had to make sure that I learned about rejection, all the lessons, that I learned more about my industry, the professionalism in it, the seriousness, before He then rewarded me with the blessing at the right time. That's a key one. Also, driving test wise, I only did one driving test. However, I was learning throughout COVID and my things kept getting cancelled. I kept trying to find a new test, wasn't getting them. And I'm so happy I didn't when I tried to apply because I was not ready. And I feel like I would have gotten the test, failed, and it would have knocked my confidence. So instead, I had to learn the art of patience. I had to learn to perfect my skills and my confidence. I knew how to drive, but I wasn't confident. And then when I finally felt confident and I was like, this is a joke now, like I want to do my test, a test popped up on that day. Got it, passed first time. Everything makes so much sense. Same with friends. Some friends came into my life for a very good time and good purpose. They served their purpose. We had a great time. And then interestingly enough, some things went wrong. And divine timing does work in good and bad ways. So sometimes look at your life and think, okay, when something went wrong, like really badly wrong, when and why did it happen around that time? There's always a big meaning, and normally you can't understand that until later on, once you've got probably a new thing or you feel better, you've been redirected onto something better. But a lot of the time you can look back and say you lost a friend, it was most likely because you were outgrowing them, or you were ready to step up in life and they were trailing behind, or they were about to create some drama, create some bad energy. They were going on a bad path and you were in a good place. And it's about protecting energies and pushing one person away from you at the exact right time before it could have affected your energy, your peace, or your opportunities. So sometimes God's looking out for you and He's taking things away at the right timing. He's not just giving you blessings, but He's also taking things away. And this is where it's really hard to accept that and be happy with that, because I completely get when you've got something in your life that you think is so amazing, you think it's everything you've ever wanted, and then it gets taken away from you. That can really suck. That can be awful. But it's not till later when you look back on that situation and you completely understand, that happened at exactly the right time I needed it to happen, or things could have got worse, or you would have missed out on something, or whatever it may have been. So I feel like for me, every time I look back on why I didn't get something at a certain time, or why something got taken away from me at a certain time, it makes so much sense. And I'm actually very grateful that it worked out that way. I feel like I would have messed things up. I feel like I would have lost out on opportunities. I feel like I probably would have gone through a lot more and would have had to do more healing. I probably could have got upset in situations, or maybe have my personality a bit altered. So I'm so happy that everything that's happened has protected me, basically. Kept me true to myself, kept my energy like vibrating high. And obviously you're going to take some downfalls, but ultimately everything has happened to keep my energy high in the long run. You can't ever protect yourself and be happy short term. That it just doesn't happen. And this will lead me on to my next point later, but I just feel like you can't just expect everything to go right and vibrate high all the time. You have to have your short-term happiness or short-term sadness, but you're sacrificing that for the greater good, for the fact that you're going to feel happier in the long term and you're going to learn more in the long term. I think what's really difficult to understand is when you kind of are in reliance on some things. If you like structure like I do, you'll be really specific about what's in your life and what isn't. So for example, if you've got a certain job that you love and it gives you the most like comfort and structure and comfortability, you're going to love it. So if it gets taken away from you, it's going to be a bit scary. I'm telling you, this is the best thing that can happen to you. If you're too comfortable in a situation and it's not pushing you to break any boundaries, feel a bit uncomfortable, then you're going to stay comfortable for the rest of your life and you're not going to progress. How I see this is peaks and troughs, like a cliff. So a lot of people just want to climb to the top of the cliff and then sit down, put a chair up and just chill at the top of the cliff for their whole life. But I'm telling you, that's not good. The purpose of life is to have these peaks and troughs, is to sit at the top for a bit where you've mastered something in your life, a period of time or an accomplishment or a person or whatever it is. But then you've got to eventually move on to something else. You can't just put all your energy into one topic, master it and be content with that. You've got to push yourself. You've got to be ambitious. So get yourself to the top, master something. Don't half climb the hill. Make sure you're putting your energy into that one thing and master it. And then you've got to think about what's the next thing. So for me, I could put all my energy and time into my job and I've mastered it. I've mastered marketing, say. But then I can't just chill there forever. I want to constantly push myself to do better. So then I might look at maybe something a bit different, maybe directing. So then because I'm moving on to something else that does technically take me to the trough, the bottom, and back at the start. It doesn't mean I've fallen. I've mastered that peak over there, but that's kind of like a closed door, lock the key shut. It's done now, like I've done well. Just because I'm at the bottom, it doesn't mean I failed or I'm slow or I'm not as educated or I'm not as skilled. It just means I'm trying a new thing and eventually I'll get to the top of that peak as well and then move on again. So it's very much like this. And it's the same with healing as well. You might master part of your healing, which could be, I don't know, self-love. You might get to the peak of your self-love journey and be like, I know exactly what I want, what I need. But what you're ignoring is maybe inner child work. So then you've got to go to the trough of that and get the peak. It doesn't mean you've fallen and your self-love work isn't valid. It's so valid. You mastered it. Well done. Now time to move on to something else. So that's how I see life, is these peaks and troughs, and they come at the exact right time, and you have to trust the flow of things and just kind of act as in you're in water and just really go with what is facing you. You'll have signs, you'll have opportunities, and even though you might be so comfortable in a situation or something and you think, I am not moving, sometimes God will pick you up off that peak and kick you to the trough, being like, you're being lazy, like move on to something else, you're being too comfortable and you're ignoring things. Say you can be so comfortable in like a job, but maybe you're ignoring the fact that actually you could do better, or there's a person you don't really get on with, or there's something going wrong with your boss. These are all things that you're ignoring for the sake of feeling comfortable and safe, but instead you've got to get out your comfort zone and get to the trough and accomplish a new issue, a new thing, a new achievement, whatever it may be. So never feel comfortable, always be pushing yourself to learn more about yourself. With the help of God, you'll know when it's time to get off the peak and when it's time to climb out of the trough. 100% you'll know. And never come with a victim mindset of, why does these things happen to me? Like, that was amazing, it's been taken away from me. Never think that. You just always think in the back of your head, I'm excited now. What is going to happen next? And as I said in my last podcast, you've got to treat yourself as if you're a main character. You've really got to look at your life as if it's like a Netflix series and there's episodes. And it's like, that was a plot twist that I was not expecting. But now I'm excited to see what happens next episode. Or if it is all calm, like, what's going to happen tomorrow? And I just made a TikTok on this about, I have no idea what I'm going to do tomorrow. How exciting. And it's so exciting. It does not have to be an anxious thing or like a bored, like, oh, it's so repetitive. You've got to make sure you spice up your life, but don't plan so far ahead. Sometimes it's okay to just enjoy the journey and just think, I actually don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and all these amazing tiny little things happen, or sometimes a big thing happens that you were not expecting, and you just don't know where you're going to end up, but you know that it's going to work out the way it's supposed to because you're trusting God and his timing. I think that's so exciting, and ever since I've changed my mindset now to that, it's just more like, I'm so excited to see what's in store for me next. Which peak am I climbing today? what next accomplishment am I moving on to, or what's going to be given to me? Is it time for a blessing, or is it time for something to be taken away? Is something altering my energy? Is something holding me back? Like, what am I being pushed up onto next? It's all exciting and it's completely out of your hands. And that's the scary thing. It's completely out of our hands. We literally have to let go. And when you finally get to a place where you can just step back and let go and say, okay, fine, God, do your thing. And I'm just like your little puppet, basically. Not in a bad way, in a fun way. You just get to experience life without the pressures of anything. And I understand the societal pressures, and we have to be careful. We have to not be lazy. You want to still have goals and you want to think about your future and strive towards them, of course. But you also, when it gets too much and you're overthinking and you're overanalyzing everything, that's your time to just let go and see what God has, or the universe has, in store for you. Just trust that little wave movement and appreciate what you have when you have it. As I say, divine timing is happening for a better reason, of course, but it's okay to miss things. It's okay to be like, oh, that kind of sucked. I want everyone to process things. So when you go through the peaks and troughs, don't ignore how you're feeling about it. Don't think you're going against God by being upset that you didn't get what you thought you were going to get. Process your emotions, write them down, allow yourself to feel them. But then stop whimpering, stop moaning. You've got to stop yourself and realise that this is something good now. You're going up the ladder, not down it. But sometimes you just have to take that pause on the ladder just to take a bit of a breather. And that's completely fine. It's completely okay if you want to be upset about losing something or not quite going down the path that you thought you had, especially career-wise. Sometimes when you're redirected, it's a very scary route because all your life you were thinking one way and now it's a complete change. I get that. Process your emotions. But also appreciate what you had when you had it. So if you did have a certain job, you did have a certain path that you were going pretty steadily towards, just be like, you know what, I'm just happy that I had that when I did. I'm happy it taught me the lessons. I'm happy that it's now given me clarity onto what I want and where I want to go next. And never regret anything. Never hold anger or judgment. Always forgive. Always forgive, and just be grateful. Even for the worst friends in the world, even bullies, say, they have taught you something, and it's just important to forgive and understand that everyone is on this journey together. There's some things that obviously are disrespectful, but it's more of the sense of, okay, that taught me something that I can now run with, but when I had it, I'm grateful. And never be bitter when other people have something that you once had or you want. Your time will come. You will be rewarded with what is meant for you. Remember, if you've already had something and now you don't, you know how it felt when you had it. It was fun. It was good. You felt good about yourself. So now when it's someone else's turn, just be so happy for them and so grateful and wow, you're going to have the time of your life because you had that once. Now it's something different and you'll probably have something better. So be excited. Don't be bitter and don't be scared. It's all going to work out. But you do need to master the art of letting go and just being you know what, it's actually, no matter what I do, I know we have free will, but no matter what I say, do, plan, nothing is going to go the way I want or think. It's all going to go the way that God wants and when he wants. Nothing is according to us and our timing and what we think. No, not at all. We can try and manipulate it to the things we want, but he will always push us onto the right path and eventually what's going to lead to the best of us. So try your hardest to really think about, what do you want, what do you deserve, what path do you want to go down, and focus your energy into those, and you'll see surely enough soon if that's not the right thing. And trust that. Listen, make sure you listen and write things down every month. Even analyze the peaks that you're trying to climb, are they worth it? Have you had signs to kind of give up, or that's the wrong peak and you should be climbing the one over there? Really sit down each month and just analyse what actually matters and what signs have you been given. Where are you supposed to be looking at now? Okay, so another thing I want to talk about is ups and downs and why me and a lot of people feel the need to be able to control the ups and the downs. I feel like this is something I've really struggled with, is I hate when things are out of my control, and I really try and put a control on it. I try so hard when things are wrong to fix them then and there. I hate confrontation. I want to fix an argument then and there. And when things are too good, I want to be in control of it. I want to know exactly is this too good to be true? Do I actually want to enjoy this? I feel like when things are too good, I tend to create a bit of chaos because I feel like it's not. I feel like it's too smooth and I don't really like that. But something I saw actually was about ups and downs, and a lot of people don't like ups and downs. They just want something calm, something tranquil, something peaceful, and I completely get that. There's times in my life where I think because I have anxiety and like based on like my upbringing, my friendship issues, all of this, sometimes like the chaos feels comfortable. But if we take that away, that can be one thing you might relate to. The other side of it though is when you just want calmness, and I've been at times where there's been so much chaos that I'm like, you know what, I literally just want, I don't even want good things, I just want normal things, I just want a normal life. And you pray for it so much, you're like, I don't want anything negative, I don't want anything amazing, I just want to be happy. But if you stay at this line, I saw someone that said, well then you're flatlining. You know, in hospital, like where it just is a flat line, that means you're dying. You're not actually living, you're just existing. That flat line is a metaphor for just existing. Living is going through the ups and the downs, and of course we want more ups. Living would be like traveling, or really good opportunities, really good moments, close, intense connections, passionate moments. The lows are obviously going to be really low, heartbreak, disappointment, rejection, fear. But these are such intense feelings that we have to feel them to actually feel alive and a bit human. And a lot of people try and avoid it and just keep that flat line. But then you are wasting your life, and that is not what life was intended for. Life was intended for these like intense moments. And as much as sometimes I hate them, it is so true. And I really like that analogy. Just like let the moments happen. You can't be in control. You can't try really hard to keep it flat and try so hard to hold on to that line. It doesn't work like that. The moment you let go and just let it go, like ping like a ball, or like if you snap an elastic band and it just goes across the room, or like a deflated balloon, you're going to live more. And I know a lot of it can be scary because you're like, well, I don't want to just let go and let bad things happen to me. But bad things are never bad things. They're short-term bad things for good high things. And that's where you really need to understand that you need to allow yourself to feel bad things in order to really grow and get to the top level. I feel like otherwise you're keeping yourself in a box and in a bubble. If you only ever want to feel like good things, you're not going to reach your true potential. The moment you pop that bubble and you let yourself get bad things, the less bad things that will happen. I think the more you try and contain the bad things, the more that they try and pop into your bubble itself and they'll basically attack you. But the moment you just like wander around freely without any protection, I feel like that's when less bad things have been happening to me. And then when they do happen, it always makes sense, and then they always link back to actually a really high good moment. It just takes time. So allowing yourself to just let go and feel the moments, and make sure you don't flatline. And if you're ever feeling too comfortable or like a bit bored and repetitive, do something, make a change. You don't want to flatline, you don't want to die, you don't want to just exist, you want to live. So do something that's going to make you feel like you are living. Get out, do something. You're the only one that can make your life interesting. You can't rely on others. You can't rely on the opportunities or the situation you're living in. Of course, there is limited abilities depending on like whereabouts you live, money, income, all this. You can't just like go to Dubai when you want, you know what I mean? But just as I spoke before, finding a vacation in every day, if that's just getting a coffee, if that's just meeting a stranger on the bus or walking your dog, making sure that you make that change to make your life interesting is so important, or you will just flatline. There is no need trying to control it. I feel like that is where it can go wrong for you, and you need to unlearn that method, and it's hard, especially me as like an avid overthinker. But the moment I just let go, I felt like I could hear birds singing. I swear, nothing is in my control, nothing is in my power, there's nothing. But stop trying to control the good moments and the bad moments. Let them happen, and I promise you, you'll prosper way more than you would have if you stayed in your little bubble. The other side of that is creating the chaos, creating the ups and downs, and I definitely have done this because I have quite intense emotions. I'm either all or nothing, and I've had to learn kind of the opposite of what I just said, how to kind of flatline it and bring it a little bit more casual. It's true, experience the sadness and the good things, but don't create them yourself. Don't create drama. If everything's good, let it happen. God is letting you have peace right now, take it. Do you know what I mean? If there is a lot of bad going on, let it happen, because ultimately you'll get through it. There is light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to wait and see, and you'll be very grateful for that. So never play with fate. Just let things happen. Trust God and let Him do the work. Never alter your path or your plan. Just enjoy what you have when you have it, the good, the bad, the medium. Just take it, sit with it, process it, and just be grateful for it. Don't alter it, don't change anything. Just take it in the moment and don't overthink. Don't think, well, what if this happens and what if I lose this? And right now you have this thing. Keep it, treasure it. And when it's time, it may leave. When it's time, it might be meant for you. It might stay. You don't know. It's out of your hands. Just enjoy it and see what happens. Just see what happens. Yeah, don't waste your days overthinking something that might never happen, or might always happen. Like, there's no point overthinking and ruining each day for the end result that you think's going to happen. Just make sure that each day you're happy and enjoying what you've got in the moment. And when that thing's happen, it happens. It was going to happen no matter what you did or what you thought about, how much you tried to prepare for it. It's going to happen. So there's no point trying to ruin your energy, stress your day out, self-sabotage, do all these bad things. Whatever's meant for you will find you at the right time. And when I say meant for you, it was meant for you in that time. Even if it didn't end up working out, that job, that person, whatever. It was meant for you at one point in your life. It just wasn't meant for you forever. Some things will be meant for you forever, but some things will be meant for you forever and some things are meant for you in a specific time. So don't waste your time trying to control that and think, what is meant for me? There's no point. You've got it right now. Enjoy it. See what happens. Be excited. Am I going to stay in this job? Am I going to get fired? Am I going to quit? You don't know. Like, it's exciting. Just see what happens because you know it's always going to work out for you in the end. Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk about is traveling and why I'm going to be doing it this year, why I have been away. Recently I went to Lanzarote in the Canary Islands and I booked it literally like a week before I went. The reason I did that is because, one, I found a very cheap deal, which I probably would have spent that amount on a day in London. And I just really try and look at priorities now. What brings me joy? And if things bring me joy, I invest in them. I don't waste money on things that half-ass bring me joy or brings other people joy and I'm doing it for the sake of them, like clubbing, for example. You can spend so much on a night out clubbing, but if you don't actually enjoy it, you're wasting your energy and your money. You could have saved that, invested that into something that brings you joy, true joy. So for me, like, I would much rather like save up all my money and then spend it on a new camera because I know photography is my passion, it's my job, it's also my hobby, it brings me joy, going on walks and just getting an eye for photos and taking things. Travelling is also a new thing, and I know everyone would love to travel, but it genuinely is a hobby, like, of mine. I would much rather invest and spend my time travelling than clubbing or on new clothes, new shoes, whatever it may be, because that's my priority. So you need to sit down and really think, and it's hard at this age, but the biggest thing, and one of my pet peeves, figure out your priorities. It's hard, but it's so important you know what is a priority in your life and what isn't, because it gets confusing. So make sure you figure out what your priorities are, and hobbies is one too. Hobbies should be at the very top of your priority list. The things that bring you and you only joy. You're not doing it for anyone else or to impress or to compete. It's genuinely what you do, and you wouldn't have to document it. Obviously, I document photos and videos because I love making videography content, but realistically, could you go away and do your hobby and thing and be content with it if no one else on the planet existed? 100%. And I have a lot of hobbies, but travelling is one of those. And the reason travelling is my hobby isn't just because of the nice beaches and stuff. The learning. I always make sure when I go travelling, especially to a city, I book a tour where there's some educational thing involved. So when I went to Amsterdam, I booked a boat tour and I learned all about the Netherlands. When I went to Lanzarote, I booked a volcano tour and I learned all about the eruptions. I didn't realise there were 7 volcanoes. I didn't realise the eruptions continued for 6 years. Like, I love learning, and in school I really struggled with it because I wasn't focused. It wasn't interesting. And even as an adult now, it's so important that you're constantly learning. And I do it in work. My boss is very keen on it as well. Is like, constantly be learning, do training packages. Even if you've passed all your qualifications, keep your brain alive and something you're passionate about. So whilst you can do it in work, also do it in life too. So that's why I'll book these tours, because I love learning. The next part is meeting people. You get to meet new cultures, new people. You get to hear different outlooks on life, different opinions, which is so good for me because I love hearing, or on this podcast, being unbiased. And it's difficult when it's just me talking. But to go out and learn from different people that live in different countries, I can piece some of their like opinions together and and share that and use it in my own life. And I love it. You meet so many different people, and this year I'm really on that because I just feel like everyone has such different experiences, unique experiences in their life. And when you speak to the same like 4 people, you might not learn that much, and it's kind of hard to better yourself if you're hearing the same advice from, I love my best friends, but if you're hearing the same things from the same people all the time, it can become quite like repetitive, and you always think, no, I'm doing the right thing because they said so. Sometimes it's good to just get outside opinions on topics and like ideas, and I love that. It's so important. So learning, meeting people, and then going for the peace and the gratitude. So for me, I love cities, but my favorite thing is to be by the ocean. I feel like nature heals. Nature's everywhere. Mother Nature is key. And being around fresh air, trees, the water, I feel like it's refreshing. And going swimming in the ocean, I feel like rebirths me, regrounds me, as weird as it may sound. And I love it. And some beaches are beautiful, and I just, photography wise, like healing wise, I just love it. And just hearing the waves is just like a little meditation thing, and just sit there and just regain yourself. And then you look at these beautiful sights that you see when you're traveling, and it gives you a sense of gratitude. And even some of my friends that aren't religious have said, like, when they've been to some places on holiday, they think, wow, like God did a good job. Like, how am I seeing this right now? Like, I'm so grateful. And having gratitude in your life makes you a better person. It makes you stop worrying about the little small things back at home. It makes you realize, like, it puts everything into perspective of like, people are struggling, people have it worse out there. Your minuscule things do not matter. This earth is right in front of you. It is beautiful. Take it in and be grateful for the tiny things in your life. And that, just seeing one side, for me, just like resets me. If I'm being a little bit like selfish, or if I'm being a little bit like caught up in my own world and I'm just being quite repetitive, to take time out and to go see a site where it takes me back a bit. I feel like everyone needs to do that regularly. Even if it's not abroad, just somewhere in the UK, find a nice site and just take it in and just be a bit more grateful for what is around us on this earth. And that is why I love traveling, for those 3 things. I don't really have any structure, but sometimes I feel like I just have been thinking about things in the week, and they're just things on my mind, and I'm just basically like word vomit, want to come on this podcast and just talk and waffle about all the things I've been thinking about. But these are just mindsets that I think have really changed my outlook and made me a more positive person. It's made me a less anxious person. It's made me really just let go and let God decide what's going to be in and out of my life and exactly at what time. And now that means that I can just let go and carry on the job that I have, speak to the friends and the family and everyone I love that I have right now, do the things I love right now. And I'm just excited. What's tomorrow? What's next year? What's next month? I just let it flow. And if the bad happens, I let it happen. And just be a free spirit, and I feel like then you glow more. And I feel like I feel so much more confident in myself. I feel like I'm glowing. I feel like a way more talkative, confident person because I now know what it's like to just let go and be happy. And I love speaking to people and making deep connections. So when people come to me and talk about these topics just randomly, it's my favourite thing in the world. So thank you for listening. And I do have another podcast already filmed. I'm just struggling to edit it because it's quite a big file, but with another guest. So you'll be seeing that in the next episode. So thank you.